Greetings. Today I would like to continue a series of my videos about the Italian opening, and today I would like to review the previous video, the first video actually, part 1. And in the part 1 we learned that Italian opening is an opening which starts with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop c4, and finally bishop c5. This is the Italian opening, and there are variations, further variations, and the most aggressive variation we found that it starts with c3. After that, the most aggressive way and the most principal move for black is knight f6. There are other moves, and we discussed them in the first video. One move is d6, and another move is queen e7, queen f6, bishop c6, and even h6. Black can try to defend different way, but the most aggressive and the most principal, the best move for black in this position is knight f6. And further, white can play d4, and black can take the pawn. For white, it's not moving forward with the pawn is not the best possibility, because black can play d5. On the other hand, white can play can capture the pawn, and black bishop check the king. Here white can respond with knight c3, and in this case black captures the pawn f6. White can do the castle, and the variation starts from this point. Another variation, when white protects with a knight, then the bishop takes the knight, bishop recaptures the knight, and black again captures a pawn. And the last important variation here is black can protect with a bishop, and then white can protect with a bishop, and the black knight again captures a pawn on e4. So notice that in all three variations, in all three main variations, black captures a pawn. Okay, black captures a pawn on e4. And this is the main problem for white in this variation. White cannot attack because they lose a pawn, so they need to play gambit variation. So we name it Italian opening, but in any case it's a gambit variation. However, white can avoid this problem from the very beginning. So they don't need, white doesn't need to play c3. Instead of c3, white can play castle. In that case, it seems that the position is very steady, calm, so white saves the king, but it seems that the position is not aggressive. So white plays not aggressive way. White play calm, and maybe it seems that white wants a draw from the very beginning. Therefore, black would play immediately very aggressive way, knight f6, and white actually is looking for it. So what's the idea of this move of the castle? White want to hide the king far away from the threat by the black bishop, and now, since the king is hidden already in safe position, so white can attack immediately d4. If white plays c3 now, black will capture the pawn again, the pawn on e4 again. However, white doesn't want that, so white attack the bishop and the pawn and attack the center again. And this system names German Gambit. This name is not very famous. Specialists of Italian opening know that Gambit. However, most people don't. Most people don't. Maybe players on the grandmaster level or master level, they heard about this system. However, most people who recently started playing chess, they have no idea about this variation, and they know Italian opening. They study all main variations, but they never studied this variation. And this you can use in your games, because you will surprise players every time. And notice also this move is not calm, so the opponent cannot find immediate response just because this is aggressive variation. It is quite common for Italian opening that if the response is not rough and doesn't bring a stable position, then it is very possible that the game will be lost. And this actually may happen in this situation. So let's consider all possible responses. So first idea is to move the black bishop to b6, but in that case the pawn d will capture the pawn e5, and the black knight needs to go back, and the position of black is okay, bishop f4. So the position of black is not so good. That means that black needs to capture the pawn, and how to do it? There are three ideas. One idea is to capture it with a pawn, another with a knight, and the last one with a bishop. So the first idea, simple idea, is to play with a pawn, ed. However, this is a mistake, because white has a move with a pawn. And what black can do? So first idea that comes to mind is to play with a knight. So recently one opponent played knight e5, and if I play queen e2, I win the game immediately, because black knight has no position to, so this all positions for the black to move, and there's no position for the knight to move anywhere. So the knight captures the pawn f2, and I recapture with, maybe I recapture with a bishop. No, better to recapture with a queen, because in that case when the bishop cannot attack my rook. So if I capture with a rook, it could be d3, and bishop can recapture the rook with a and actually it will be two pieces. So white would have bishop and the knight for the rook. So still very good position, but not as good as if you have also a rook. So in this position, black can play d5. So white can play this move, or white can move to bishop to d3. In both cases, white would have serious advantage, because white has an extra knight. Okay, so this move if knight e5 is not good. So what else? So knight can move to h4. Well, knight h4 would be immediately, so black would lose a knight or lose the rook, because in this case it will be take, and then white takes the rook, or white do the fork and will take the rook soon. So knight h4 is not good. So what else? Let's talk about what else is knight g4. And in this case, white sometimes white play h3, knight play captures a pawn, and after exchanging the knight, the rook plays e1, then d6, and now f4. Okay, here is rather complicated theory, but so the best that black can have is the best for black is some position. Actually, this position is good for black. This position is equal, or black has even advantage here. Little advantage, just because white is not very developed. The knight of white is not developed, and actually black has advantage in this position. So it means that let's go back. So it means that playing here h3 is not so good move. However, this move will give you advantage if you just play with a very big player, because he will not play as tricky as the engine. So he will probably play, okay, after this move, rook e1, d6, and then f4. Maximum he can play this move, and if rook moves here, white can rook, and you take the so white takes the knight and has advantage here. However, as I said, if black plays correctly, okay, now if in case of bishop e3, but white can move knight king h2, and after this move queen h4 take, black take here, attack, return, attack by the attack here, so many attacks, and still white needs to take the queen, and after that knight will move, and it will be equal position with some even little advantage of black. So therefore the move on h3 is not so good for white. So don't try to play h3 here. The best move is bishop f4, and now black knight is already trapped, so it cannot take the pawn on e4, e5. So the only good thing for black, maybe if black play d6, take, and king cannot castle again. So now you play h3, knight f6, bishop b5, castle, and then take. So white actually has a better position, even though material is the same, but white would have better position here, more active and better position here. Maybe white can play this attack. No, h3 doesn't work here. Yeah, so this is probably the best move. I don't know why the engine doesn't like it. The engine suggests to play castle and on h3, knight h6, bishop take h6, pawn recapture. Then white suggests to exchange pawns like that. And black can play d6, take, queen moves to h4, trying to win two pieces. Then knight moves, queen takes the bishop, so he attack. So rook moves, and now queen. Oh, knight again played d4, attacking the black queen. And after d5, after queen d4, knight f3 to protect the pawn and attack the queen again. So exchange. So the position has some advantage for white. It's better than actually. It's not bad position. Looks like a draw. However, you need to notice that the engine makes correct moves every time, or at least the best move for each position. However, the human would not be able to play like an engine. Therefore, if you have a chance, you don't play this variation for black. In any case, white has advantage, but variation is so bad for black. So after bishop f4, so this black has a stable advantage here. Therefore, if you think about after e5 knight g4, so I remember, so we still speak about the idea of d4. Black takes the pawn, white attacks the knight, and so far we found the way that the knight can move somewhere. Now the most principal variation here is d5, but in this case white takes the pawn, black takes the bishop, and white takes the pawn on g7, rook moves, then attack. Here actually it's difficult to say what is better. This is better or this is better. Looks like both moves are similar. So after bishop move to g5, black can play f6 or bishop e7. Let's think about f6. Then rook check, white move or black moves, bishop protects the pawn. Then this rook moves out, knight d2, bishop f5, and the position is after exchange, knight attacks the bishop here, then another knight. I don't understand why the knight cannot take the pawn, because of queen d6. Yeah, because it wastes time, but it can take the pawn as well. It suggested that the queen attack. So with the queen, the position looks a little bit better, but queen protects on d5, then knight takes, pawn takes, and then white takes the pawn, queen d6, queen d3. So the position rather equal. However, again, in the this is moves suggested by the engine. However, if you play your own game, so somewhere here you will see the position like that, with a rook attack and bishop protect, and you will see that your king, the black king, is vulnerable here. So any it will be very difficult to protect it. Of course, black has 2 pawns, so 2, 4, 6, 7, 2. The black has 2 pawns in the center, and this is good because white cannot develop fast. On the other hand, white can take those win those pawns because the pawns are far away from the defense of black, and the fact that the black king is vulnerable I don't like so much. So white king has nice castle, black king has a strange castle made by the white pawn. So I don't think that you would like to play this position anyway for black, therefore don't need that. Besides, okay, so just remember that the best would be here d5, even though position of black would not be nice, but still better than when you play knight g5. Okay, we considered one variation when the pawn takes the pawn d4. Now another variation, yeah, and this what happens here. Now another variation is knight d4. This is also not correct variation, and this variation is the worst one. Among the 3 variations, this variation is the worst one. So white captures the pawn. Instead of capturing the knight, white captures the pawn, and here queen can move to e7. Then bishop attacks the pawn, rook can move, and after that knight moves to d3, king takes the bishop, and then pawn moves forward. So what to do in this case if okay, well, for instance, if knight play move to d5, then it will be c3. That knight will move, queen attack, check, and win the knight. Oops. Let's oh. Okay, let's consider another variation where the knight takes the pawn. In that case, the white knight will also take the pawn. So taking the knight would not be good actually for white. White will gain nothing. Taking the pawn, white will gain actually nothing. It will be, okay, the engine suggests -1, and you see the position is not so comfortable. Black will castle soon. White has a chance to lose the pawn, risk to lose the pawn all the time, so the position is not very active, so it seems that black has initiative here. So it will be c6, queen f3, and then d6, and basically black solve their problems, and they still have an extra pawn. So white gain nothing from this from the gambit in this way. Therefore, knight would like to take the pawn e5. And now, so black has a nice idea to, if black has a nice idea to castle, so black think, okay, right now black king can castle. It will be bishop e3, and knight needs to move somewhere, otherwise bishop will capture the knight. So knight move to e6, and here look, It's an interesting situation. Look carefully and count pieces. So white bishop captures a knight. Black bishop has nothing to do, so actually you want to recapture. Black wants to recapture, but in this case black bishop will be in bad position. Maybe you can recapture this way, then take. No, this way is not good. In this case, black will lose a bishop, so can recapture f6, and still it will be bishop takes the bishop, and after d6 white moves to a3, and after black captures the knight, black captures a bishop, white bishop captures a rook, black recaptures the bishop, and if you notice here, white plays queen d3, and white has advantage of rook again for the bishop, so white will win in this position. So therefore the black bishop needs to take the white piece. However, white has a check, and not just check. So this bishop is protected by the knight. So if black capture the bishop, then knight captures the bishop, and there is nothing to do. So basically, if black bishop captures a pawn to check, so to gain extra pawn, so then after the king recaptures the knight, it will be e5, and black will lose another knight. So therefore, in that situation, black king recaptures a knight, and white pawn captures a bishop. If you count again, white has an extra rook for the bishop, and of course this position is good for white. So therefore, if you play, so this variation with knight captures the pawn is not good, because in that case, in all cases, black lose material. There's one situation. So we still consider castle. In case of castle, so yes, bishop e3, knight moves, bishop takes, bishop retake, and then in this case, if bishop takes, the king can move back to g6, and in that case, fe, black play d6, and knight can play the attack, can attack the king, pawn takes, bishop takes, and right now black has black didn't lose any rook or didn't lose any knight, so but one thing, black doesn't have enough pawns. Black has 5 pawns, white has 7 pawns, and even though those 2 pawns in the center are weak, it's an advantage anyway, and also besides that, the position of the black king is terrible. Therefore, this position is good for white, for sure, no kidding. So in any case, so black can play this way, attacking the pawn, but white rook wants to attack the queen, and therefore black needs to take the rook, queen retake, the black queen attacks the, so play here. So now I can play maybe, I don't know. No, I cannot do anything. I need to take the queen, otherwise I would lose the bishop. And then knight a3, black captured 1 pawn, but white has advantage. Still white has still advantage in this position, because this pawn on c7 cannot be protected as well. Okay. Still okay. I can take, or I can move here. No, why do you need to move here? I would like to take the pawn. Simply because black cannot take the pawn now, because black cannot take the pawn here because knight capture the pawn, and in case of if the black knight recaptures the pawn, the white will lose the material again. So the position is basically good for white in this situation. That means that let's return back. The entire variation when the black knight takes the pawn is not good, and simply you can see that. I think not many people can or would like to attack this or take here with a knight, because everybody sees that the white knight will attack the position of black. Okay, there is another variation which actually lead better for black as a result, but I think this variation is complicated again. So queen e7, then bishop captures the pawn, rook f8, the knight attacks the bishop, king takes the bishop, then pawn moves to e4. And now whatever the knight do, so in this case if it's pawn captures the knight, so queen will take the knight. So if queen takes, in that case it will be bishop e3, and black lose the knight again. So this why moving the knight is not so good idea. Moving the knight, so bishop b3 and pawn captures a pawn captures a knight. So the suggested move is queen e2, then another capture, and actually play like this. This variation. This is complicated already. I see that it's complicated variation. H3. So those moves are not very standard, and requires long thinking for both sides. I don't believe that anybody can remember these moves in this variation, but in this variation white may not gain the advantage which white gain in other situations. So here at least some black, even I don't see that. So in this variation actually suggested by the engine, I don't see how the black would gain equal position, would gain advantage or equal position. But one can see that basically the position is not that bad for black. Black has initiative and more comfortable position than in previous variations. So if I think still if you want to play this German Gambit for black, maybe e7 variation is good if you want to draw. So you can play like this on queen e7, because I'm sure that the white will not be able to remember all good moves or all good moves. Therefore, black will be able to achieve good results, because everybody thinks that the variation with knight taking the pawn, this variation, when knight taking the pawn, is good. Therefore, if white plays this way, black plays this way, so again show something that I can remember actually. Take the bishop, attack, bishop e7, take, then exchange, take, support, knight a3, d5, h3, to prevent that bishop support the knight. So actually here black has some counterplay, and white needs to play very accurately. So right now it seems that this position is equal, even though the engine thinks it's an advantage for white, but I don't see that advantage. So maybe if you don't know, I'm not sure if white can find all these moves, even white prepare that gambit and basically know what to do. But since in that gambit the knight d4 is very unusual move, and considered as incorrect, therefore white may not find the right moves to play. So this variation is good if black is looking for a draw. So now let's consider the last variation in this situation after the pawn attacks the black structure. So the best move is supposed to be bishop captures d4. And in this case, knight captures the bishop, otherwise white will not gain anything good here. So playing with a pawn would not be good, because in that case it will be variation similar to what we saw before, but white would really get something good here. So black played take, and white play f6, and then in this situation white would have advantage. And you see that advantage because black king is still in the center, black rook is trying to protect against the pawn and cannot move, and really in this situation black doesn't get anything good. So this variation by the computer, however, I think it will be even more difficult to protect for black if human plays human moves. Therefore, so black shouldn't allow white play e5 here, and this is a goal of white. So black should play knight capture d4. Okay, and after that there is one gambit variation which I like a lot. So before we play f4, maybe it's yeah, I would like to show the one gambit variation which I like and which I play and which actually very nice and produce in sense of producing a lot of good results. So the right way here is h6. If black cannot find this move, so black will definitely lose because white want to move f4. So the only way to protect f4, to prevent f4 is to play h6. Bishop move to h4, and the right move would be here d6. However, black has a very good idea to play g5. So black wants to play g5 because in this case, after if bishop play g3, so d6, black solve all their troubles and prevent the main idea, prevent the f4. And this how black think in this position, if they don't know the variation. Actually, it's very natural idea that after that b or g5, black bishop returns to g3 and black would have advantage. However, white has f4, and this is the main trap in this in the entire system, in the entire German's Gambit. So right now, so white play f4, and right now it turns out if black takes the bishop, then they will lose in one move, and in fact. So white can so black can choose which horse they lose, which knight they lose. However, there's computer found that in principle you can play d5, and in case of ed, knight d5, queen d5, so position is more or less protectable, and black can protect this position. Take, the knight c3, and the position is equal. The position is equal. So there is not black would lose nothing in that case. The only problem, black will not be able to castle, and most of the time will need to take care of the 3 pawns. So this is why maybe you don't like this position in this case, and therefore don't try this move. In general, so if black takes, so white takes, and then whatever black do, it seems that you have nothing to do except this one. But here you have another variation. Black or white can do differently, can play different ways. So can take the knight immediately. So then after that, take. White has even better position. So white has 2, 4, 6. Number of pawns is no, white has an extra pawn. No, the number of pawns is the same, but you see the black pawns are splitted and not connected, while the pawns of white are well connected. And if white and black has more pieces, of course white would be able to pick up all these pieces. However, right now it would be a little bit complicated. But in this case, white should have little advantage in the end, if the black would be able to find these moves. Okay, this is not good, so black should play, or white should play this way. Then if white takes a pawn, it would not be good. because simply yeah, it would not be good if because white has not enough material, so white should follow this move. Okay, now let's talk about another variation. So we considered so far when the black takes the pawn. Now let's the same pawn takes uh, the pawn, and it seems that black can solve all the questions, can solve all the problems at once. However, rook takes the pawn, and in fact, it is not like. It is not like just rook takes a pawn. It will be exchange rook for the knight. So here there are possibility. One simple possibility when the pawn takes the rook, queen takes, then c5, and then queen. It's important to play c5. Otherwise, queen will be stuck. So recently somebody played here queen e7, then bishop takes, then queen needs to move somewhere, maybe queen moves here, and then it could be a check like this and capturing the queen, or it is also a checkmate situation here, like that, then check, and if black takes the bishop, so it will be checkmate here. If black moves, it will be checkmate here. Again, if black protects with the queen, then it will be check and move, and again checkmate and move here, then checkmate here. So this interesting checkmate. So just because the queen cannot find the space, so the queen should play c5 to attack the white queen. Then it will be check. Queen moves. Then bishop takes. The queen has a chance to take the queen, and after that, black saves the rook. But in fact, in this position is equal, material is equal, but in fact, yeah, it's an attack here, protect. So it seems that material here is equal, but white has advantage because white has two pieces, knight and bishop, against the rook, and white would win this position. Especially notice the the structure of the black pawns is not that good. Okay, we consider the second possibility. We so far considered the possibility when the pawn takes the bishop, then another possibility when the pawn, yeah, maybe we didn't finish it because there are some ways, yeah, if the knight attacks the king, but there is nothing different, everything is the same. So in this position everything is the same except the bishop stands on e2. Maybe the life of black would be a little bit better, or maybe not, but I don't see any practical difference. So we considered two possibilities so far, and now I want to consider the last one. When the pawn, it's not the last one, the last one when aggressive possibility, when the pawn takes the pawn. So in that case, queen take the knight, and so far black has advantage of one knight. Black wins one knight. So right now the best is a castle and bishop e1, and white has an extra extra bishop in this case. So far all aggressive possibilities on the black side cannot do anything, but there is the last one and the best one so far. So this is this d5 actually brings the equal or almost equal position, and actually equal position for the black. So d5, the idea is the black attacks the bishop and wants that white actually remove the attack on the pawn is f7. So if I take with the bishop, if I take with there is an f7, and also if I take with the bishop, so the knight will be able to capture the bishop, and so right now the position of black is better because black has an extra piece, like extra bishop. So as soon as bishop do something, if the bishop moves back, then another knight would take the bishop in this case. Another knight supposed to take the bishop, and again after that, so black has another bishop. So this is basic idea. So in this case, white bishop on c4 cannot move anywhere. Now if I take the pawn here, so it will be attack, queen moves, and then capture the pawn here. White attacks the move forward, attack the pawn, and allow bishop to attack the knight. In that case, it will be check, king's move, and black knight protect its knight. So now white has only one move. Then rook captures the pawn, captures the knight, and attack. And now interesting situation. When white sacrificed the rook for the knight. Sacrifice the rook for the knight, but because white has 2 pawns on f6 and g7, the position will be a draw, absolute draw. So just because of that, because the 2 pawns of white on g7 and f6, white has disadvantage. However, it will be a draw. This is a really complicated solution found by the computer, and I'm sure that your opponent may not be able to find it. So this is probably a good master level, master or grandmaster level, I don't know. So your opponent, which play with you blitz game or even classical game, but on the not very high level, will not be able to play that good for black. Okay, so now, so if we try, so taking the pawn here is not good idea at all, because black captures the bishop and nothing happens. So the best is to capture with the pawn. In that case, black captures this bishop, white captures the pawn, so knight recapture, queen captures the knight, and black bishop returns here, and we know this position, we met this position before. This is actually the best variation for black in this situation, and it's kind of a draw. So the entire trap variation, so I return back and show you again, remind you again. So this trap variation, when I play the bishop, it turns out that doesn't bring advantage to the black or to the white, only if the black play incorrectly. If the black play correctly, but they need to play accurately, in that case it doesn't bring anything good for, doesn't bring win to the white. So this is, in this variation, it should be a draw again, or at least equal position. Yes, white or black king doesn't feel comfortable, but it still can survive, and it could be equal game for both sides. So now let's consider what we missed so far. So in this position, instead of g6, instead of g5, black have some possibilities. One possibility is d6, but in that case f4, bishop attacks the queen, bishop takes, bishop takes the queen, and right now we have a situation. Yes, we have a situation when actually also a draw situation. So right now black also exchange rook for 2 pieces. However, right now the pawns of black, first of all, black has 2, 4, 6, 8 pawns, and white has only 5 pawns. So black has too many pawns. Of course, this pawn will be taken, so black has, okay, now 7 pawns against 5 pawns. So and second of all, the pawns of black are well organized, well structured, so they're connected to each other, and this why this position is likely a draw. So now let's go back. But anyway, you can see that this situation is rather complicated. So one situation is d6. Another variation is queen e7. Queen e7. White play f4. Black play queen c5. White takes the pawn. Black attack the king, and then takes the bishop. So meanwhile, white takes a pawn, black takes another bishop. So white attacks the pawn, rook protects, and after knight c3, we have a situation with a draw. So white has no 1 pawn. So let's continue thinking about this position. White has a deficiency of pieces. Black has an extra bishop, but that knight what if he takes it? Pawn take. So in this case, white can attack that way. So rook takes, check, king moves, and after this move, okay. So the black requires to return a piece. So now the position, it turns out to be equal again. So then you can understand, if you can remember that, if you can remember these moves, so the best move was queen e7, and this queen e7 provides equal position or even advantage for a while for black in this game. So let's repeat again. So queen needs to move, take the bishop, take the knight, take, and after, so it requires accurate move to continue for white and black to continue playing well. What if the knight wants to escape earlier? So the knight doesn't want to be killed, and knight wants to escape to g6. In this case, position of white will be superior because rook takes, queen attack. Okay, maybe d6, then queen takes the pawn, rook or king protects, then knight f3, and after queen takes, so it will be check, and black would lose the rook anyway. So right now black loses the rook anyway, because if the queen moves, then white takes the rook, black protects, and it will be a check. So therefore this position, as you can see, is very vulnerable for both sides, and any mistake. So I showed you just as this, if you play queen e7, it will be just top of the iceberg. What I showed you, all these variations with traps, is only the top of the iceberg if you think about complexity of how complex is this position. So, but queen e7, if black knows what to do, is the best variation for black. So I'm now analyzing this trap variation. I found another option for black. So right now, instead of h6, which is actually okay, black can play also e6. And the best so if white white bishop steps back, so black can move queen f4. Oh, not queen, knight f4, preventing the pawn of white pawn to move to f4. And right now knight c3, h6, then bishop takes, queen takes, g3, knight e6, f4. Now so it could be such a variation, and if so the idea of blacks, they can play g5 anytime. In case of queen c3, black plays e5, g5. Now knight d5, b5, take, and then attack here, move back, and still some advantage of black here, but white captures a pawn, and it's more likely, more or less, a draw. Maybe even okay, this way is not good. So if the king steps here, so it will be a problem. Therefore, rook h7 is the best idea. Now he takes, attack, and it's now a tactical game when everybody, so when black and white find equal position in the end. So now there is a better variation here. Let's go back. Bishop doesn't need to move back, so instead another bishop captures this knight, and right now there is an interesting situation this way, so it can be done f6 or fg or d, fe or de. So the engine suggests de. Now queen f3, queen moves here, then knight e5, bishop d7, and the position ends up in draw. So the position will end up in draw. Anyway, how about f4? Take. Okay, when it's take, I take, and it will be a check. So this why the position end up in draw. So now let's consider another possibility. Okay, de, and it will be immediate draw. Maybe I play knight c3. So take, and the knight is no longer pinned. So in case of if fe, it would be f4, queen e7, and the position, okay, rook f2, because the queen is going to c5. Then it will be attacked to the bishop attack, queen attack, check, g6, queen takes a pawn, and queen takes a pawn, so it will be another draw situation. In case of h6, bishop just play h4, and the same idea, queen check, queen takes a pawn. So the game ended in draw. Take, how about g6, returns, take. So in any case, the position will be ended in a draw. I think I need to discuss the last variation which I didn't mention so far, and I don't want to so far discuss the trap. Now I want to return back and play f4. In this variation, black will protect simply with d6. White would play bishop d3. Black would cancel, would castle, and then knight f3, knight c3. White takes the pawn, bishop takes the pawn. Then this variation is actually rather calm and doesn't give advantage to any side. Maybe the black position is a little bit more comfortable, but yeah, right now it says that the black would even have advantage. So the variation which suggested by the engine is not so good for white. That is interesting. The analysis of the engine suggests that this variation f4 is not the best, so the only way for white to continue playing this game, the best way is to play in g5. Okay, I think we considered all possibilities. Let's review a little bit. So what we learned e5. Okay, this is Italian opening, c5, and instead of c3, white plays castle, because white wants to protect the king first, and black requires things that they can do better than white, so black starts the attack. But in fact, white also starts the attack, direct attack with d4, and then the mistake would be to take with the pawn with a pawn, because in this case it will be e5, and the black knight will not be able to find the good space, or only safe move is d5, but in that case it will be long exchange, which leads to very complicated position where the black king will never castle. And another mistake is to take with a pawn, because in that case the knight can take the pawn on e5, and the mistake would be played the castle. The best move is to play queen e7, and after several moves, black achieve a draw, but this draw will not be so simple. So black needs to remember all moves, correct moves, and I'm sure black wouldn't do that, wouldn't be able to remember. Therefore, black would not be able to play this game well. So the last variation is a bishop. Bishop takes a pawn. In this case, knight takes a pawn. Knight take recapture, and in that variation, the best for white is bishop g5. Now it will be situation when the queen, the right move is a queen e7, or maybe second good queen e7 is too complicated. If you remember, it's good. If you don't remember, you can play d6. D6 with some position close to the draw, an active position for the black, but the worst variation would be g5, because in this case white has f4, and it will be complicated system which has only one solution for black, with a kind of position sim which brings them to the equality. However, in any case, white and black requires accurate move, especially black requires to play accurate move to get a draw. And in this case, we don't discuss even that the black can win, only if white can make only if white makes a mistake. Okay, this is all. I think we considered all interesting moves, yeah, and now I can finish. And next time I will discuss moves related to the move c3 and knight f6, d4, take, and we will discuss the next different variations. So one important variation would be knight c3. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful for you. I think if you learn this German Gambit in Italian opening for white, it would be great. It would be actually great, because you will be able to win many games, because opponents do not know the gambit. Nobody discuss it in the internet. Nobody studied seriously. If you win some interesting variations for black, it would be also great, because in this case you will be able to play against this gambit with black, and will be able to win some games sometimes when white decide to trick you. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. See you next time. Bye bye.